Good morning. I'm so glad that you've joined me this morning. Thank you for joining me, and my name is Marge Peterson. I'm with the Claiborne County Adult Literacy Council, and we have our English classes every Tuesday and Thursday morning. We are still doing them virtual this way, but in about 2 weeks we're going to be coming back in the classroom. So pay attention to that, because if you are in the Kingsville area and want to join us in the classroom, we will, of course, you have to wear your mask, and we'll have to do some safety things for meeting together. But we will be meeting in the classroom, and that's pretty exciting because it's been a year since we've been in the classroom. So anyway, welcome, and I hope that you're having a wonderful day. It's kind of cloudy. I feel like in March we usually are celebrating springtime, and I look like winter yet, but it's kind of chilly outside. And I just wanted to mention to you that no matter what the weather or what your environment is or your circumstances, or if there's people around you that are not very happy or grouchy or something, I hope that you choose to be happy and joyful, and to study English or to do the things that you enjoy doing, because I think that we don't need to let other things or people steal our joy. And that's what my word for the word of wisdom for today. Okay, so in our classes I usually study idioms, grammar, and pronunciation. We're not going to do much pronunciation today because we're doing a review of some idioms that we just finished. That's the first ones we're going to do. We finished idioms that had to do with numbers, quantities and amounts, and I put these, it's like a little quiz. Okay, I will read through them and see if you know them without saying, because we studied, I believe we had 20 of them, and we're going to start a new category today. We're starting a category of clothes, and there's so many idioms and different kinds of sayings that we have. So I want, for those of you that have been with me before, and I know quite a few of you have been, I want you to see if you can remember what these would. I've only got 8, and they're like review kind of questions. But okay, if you are not a good dancer, you might say you have what? And it has to do with number. There'll be something of some, you might say, what do you have? And it has a number with it. You're not a good dancer. You might say, what do you have? Okay? Number 2, if you do something all day, every day, you will say that you do it what? And this is a very common number. It's actually 2 numbers, okay? And it's very common, so I'm sure that you've heard of it, even if you haven't been with us in our classes. Okay, if you do something all day, every day, you will say you do it what? You're doing it all the time. What is that? What number would that be? Or 2 numbers. Number 3, what do we call a short nap? It has a number. It's something, something, okay? What do we call a short nap? What do we call that? Okay, number 4, what is a humorous way or kind of an informal way to call an accountant or somebody that works with numbers? Maybe it's a treasurer of a group or a business or something like that. A humorous way that we call, what do we call them? Okay, that was one of our very last ones that we had. Okay, now look at number 5. Another number idiom, okay? We had 2 of them that had almost the same meaning, or they did have the same meaning. Another number idiom that has the same meaning as on cloud 9. You hear that that's a number. And on cloud 9 is the same as, what's another one that means that same thing as on cloud 9? We had another one. Okay, let's look at the other 3 here on the back side. If you are looking for something under your couch, you are probably down what? It has a number in it. It's an idiom that we have. You are probably down, and I'll give you the first word, on something. If you are looking for something under your couch, you know you have to be low. Okay, so what do we have, what the idiom that we use for that? Okay, see if you can remember these and write them down, okay? Number 7, someone who is dishonest or false, but pretends to be honest or truthful is, and when you think about it, it's like they'll say one thing to one person and the opposite thing to another person. Like they believe this, and then they'll say they believe that because they want to please these people, or they don't want, and so they're not being really honest. You don't know which one it is. So what is that called? Pretend to be honest or truthful, but they're really dishonest and false. The last one, number 8. What is an idiom that means approximate or an estimate number of something? Whether it's money or people or things, whatever. An approximate. And you don't know the exact number, but an approximate or an estimate number of something. Do you remember? Okay. I'm going to tell you what these things are. In fact, I'll put the answers in here. Okay? I'm going to come on this side now for this. If you are not a good dancer, you might say you have what? What do you have? 2 left feet. Oh, okay. I'm here. Okay. Okay. You might say that you have 2, and I'll write out the number 2 left feet. Remember when we had that? If you haven't joined us before, you maybe haven't studied that. But if someone says, I can't dance, and usually we use it with dancing. Okay, the book said someone who's clumsy. Well, it can be clumsy too, but almost always I've heard it with dancing. And so, I can't dance, I can't go out and dance with you on the dance floor because I have 2 left feet. Very common. Okay, if you do something all day, every day, think of all day is 24 hours in a day, every day is 7 days a week. So, do you know that saying? You do it 24/7. Very common. You probably do because I think you do that in other language, or you say that in other languages. So if you do something all day, every day, you will say that you do it 24/7. It's like being responsible for your children or for your pets or something like that. What do we call a short nap? 40 winks. Do you remember that one? 40 winks. And that's very common also. It's not actually, for a wink is one like that. So if you do it 40 times, that's not a short nap, but it means that you're not asleep very long. So it's a short nap, not a long nap. Okay, what's a humorous way to call an accountant? Do you remember what that was? It's a thing you crunch up, number cruncher. And that's kind of a new one, but the accountant or the person is called a number cruncher. What you're doing is number crunching, or you might say crunching the numbers, okay? Crunching the numbers. Okay, another idiom that we had in this category that has the same meaning on cloud 9. If you're on cloud 9, you just feel like it's wonderful. You're very, very happy, extremely happy. Another one is in 7th heaven. Okay, let me put this up a little bit so I can reach that better. And we have the idiom the preposition in 7, I'm not writing it very neatly, heaven. And then they have the same meaning, okay? And the reason they're in this same category is because one says on cloud 9, that's a number, and in 7th heaven, that's another number, 7. Okay, let's look at number 6 now. Remember, these are all review. We went through them last week, and the week before, and part of the week before that, okay? If you are looking for something under your couch, you are probably down, and I don't know if you've heard this before, but we studied it last week, on all fours. And it's a number on all fours. And what it means, okay, you know that whether you have a dog or a cat or a horse or a donkey or a cow or something like that, any kind of animal like that has 4 feet, right? 4 legs, 4 feet. We only have 2 legs and 2 feet. So the idea is that if you are down on all fours, it's like you're pretending that your hands are feet and that your knees are feet, okay? Because that's why it says on all fours. It's not your hands and your feet. You wouldn't say on all feet, you'd say on all fours, meaning that you needed 4 to balance you. And usually if you're looking for something under a couch or under some place that's low, you have to get down on the floor, and you're down on all fours. Okay, good. I hope that you remember that one. Someone who is dishonest or false but pretends to be honest or truthful. If you say something that is this way and the opposite, and you say that you believe this and then you believe that, you can't believe both things because they're opposite. You are two-faced, okay? Someone who is dishonest or false is two-faced. And we put a hyphen between that because we use it, we don't just say one-faced or three-faced. We always use two-faced as one word. Okay, an idiom that means an approximate or estimate number of something, a ballpark figure. Do you remember that one? That one's kind of a newer one too, but it's certainly, I heard it on the news just last night, and I thought that was kind of interesting because it's used. A ballpark figure is not an exact number. If someone says, well, we've invited 100 people to our dinner, but we think, oh, maybe around 70 will come. And so, you know, if the person that's catering says, well, how many do you think you'll have? Well, give me a ballpark figure. That means an approximate. Okay, so if you say 70 and there's 75, they make room for that, or if there's 68 instead of 70. Okay, did you get all of those? If you've been with me before, I hope that you did, because that's a review of the numbers, quantities, and amounts. Now what we're going to start today is a new idioms category, close, okay? And I'm going to give you 6 of them today. We have a total of 24, so I figure that if we do 6 every time and then a review, why that'll give you a good, it's not too many to learn at one time, but you will still get an idea of how many you need to know, okay? And by the way, both in the book and in the app that I use for getting these, there's more in there. I feel like if I've never heard of them, maybe they're not super common. Some of these things are common in one part of the country, but not another part of the country, so be aware of that also. But I've lived in several parts of the United States, and if I've never heard some of them, I figure that maybe they're just not very common. Some of them are older also. So, okay. Wear many hats. If somebody wears many hats, which I'm sure many of you do, okay, it means to do many different types of tasks or have a variety of different roles. So if you are a mother and a wife and a sister and you have a job or you're a neighbor, you have to wear, and if you're helping your children at home, you've got to be kind of a teacher then too, okay? And so somebody that wears many hats, they don't literally wear hats, but that, you know, sometimes you have to act as a teacher, and then other times you have to act as a mother. Sometimes you have to act as a friend. Okay, so that's what wear many hats. It's not literal, but it's an idiom that means that you have very many different roles or different things, tasks to do, okay? This one, my class has had in a couple of different books, and I know that some of the students love to say it because it kind of rhymes. Ants in your pants. Okay, and kids love to say that because ants in your pants. You know, ants are, if you get into some ants, why, they make you just scratch and all that sort of thing. So if you have ants in your pants, you have extreme restlessness, okay? To be restless is to not be able to relax or to sit down and rest. So if you have restlessness, that means that's the type of situation or the type of condition that you have. Or it's also called overactivity. Now they didn't say hyperactivity. That is, I thought maybe they would say that, but actually that is a disorder. So they just want to say that it's overactivity. Maybe you're very excited. Many times this happens, whether it's adults or maybe children. If children are ready to go on a certain trip or to go to the beach or to get a new puppy or something or other that's really exciting for them, go to the museum or the zoo or something like that. They might just like, and they might not be hyperactive children. They're just overactive right now because of excitement. Adults do it too, so, you know, you can have, anybody can have ants in their pants. And it's not literal, okay, you have to know that. This one, roll up your sleeves. If someone says that, well, time for us to roll up our sleeves, that means you're getting ready for hard work. And it can be, it doesn't have to be physical work. Maybe you have to work on balancing a budget or doing all, number crunching or something or other like that. Or maybe it's just doing some kind of a task, but it can be hard work too. And that's where, I think that's where the origin came from. If someone says, well, okay, it's time for us to roll up our sleeves, that means, and you don't do it literally, but it means you're getting ready for hard work, some kind of hard work. Okay, out of your own pocket, I included this one because I'm not sure that everybody understands that if something is out of your own pocket, you are paying for it. To pay for something with your own money, maybe someone else or a group or a business or work or something could have paid for it, but they couldn't afford it or they didn't or something. So, but you wanted to have a certain something, so you paid for it with your own money. That means out of your own pocket, you paid for it. Sometimes if we're teaching our children how to earn and spend money, they'll say, well, can I have money for the movies, to pay for the movies? You know, and you may say, well, you'll have to pay for it out of your own pocket, and which is a way to teach them that if they do some work or save up some money to do some things, okay? And that's a very common thing. But I'm not sure that every language has that. You maybe have the idea, but you maybe don't call it out of your own pocket. But in English, that's what we say, out of your own pocket, okay? This one, very common. I heard this on a movie a couple weeks ago. Give someone the shirt off your back. It's not literal. It's not like you're taking your shirt off to give to somebody, but it means to be extremely generous. So if someone, I heard it because they were talking about someone who had died, and this girl was saying he would give you the shirt off his back, and that's what it is. That he was a very generous person. She was talking about the, I don't remember, her uncle or somebody in her family, and she said he would give you the shirt off his back, which means that he was just very loving and generous with everyone. So it means if you say that to give someone the shirt off your back, or if you talk about someone else, he would give you the shirt off his back. Okay, that means to be extremely generous. Okay, let's see here. Let me separate these here for just a minute. Okay, and the last one we have for today, and I apologize for this because I went ahead and said it's at the drop of a hat. And I was looking at something else at the time, and I wrote off, and the word isn't off, it should be of. At the drop of a hat, and there are several things about a hat, several idioms, and we're going to have a couple of them, not all of them, because a couple of them I hadn't heard of before. But if someone says, well, we went to the store at the drop of the hat. Or he wanted something, that means right away, at once. He wanted me to come to his office at the drop of a hat, right away, or at once, or without any delay, immediately, willing at any moment, at the drop of a hat. So that one was a little more common. There's going to be a couple more that have to do with a hat. But all of these have to do with some kind of clothing, okay? Wear many hats, ants in your pants, roll up your sleeves, and everybody knows what a sleeve is, I hope, this sleeve this is the sleeve of my jacket, okay? Out of your own pocket, and you know what a pocket is, okay? It has a place you can put things in your pocket. Give someone the shirt off your back, and at the drop of a hat, okay, right away. So those are the ones that we're having today. On Thursday we'll have 6 more. Okay, so okay, that's all that we're going to have for our idioms for today. Now we're going to, let's see, I'm going to switch here to go to the whiteboard, okay? And I'll just put this aside a little bit. I'll come over here. Because I'm going to put some words up here, and they're all verbs, okay? In grammar now, we're going to be working on some verbs, different tenses and spelling and pronunciation of verbs. So we're going to work on verbs a little while. Before we did our whole section on abbreviations, which took several weeks because we had so many abbreviations and different categories of abbreviation. And we finished those last week. So now we're going to go back to our regular grammar. We were studying adjectives before that, and we've finished up with adjectives. So now we're going to go to verbs. And verbs are so important, and I'm going to, let me get my lessons out here, my plans here. We're going to look at simple past tense verbs today, okay? There's just so many different things we're going to study about verbs, but do you remember when I put 2 different sentences up here? I'm going to write, I have, this was when we were practicing pronunciation of V. I have lived in Kingsville. See, there's several V's. For 5 years. Okay. So, and let me do it. Because one of the reasons we did this, because we were looking at the pronunciation of V. I have lived in Kingsville for 5 years, okay? And we practiced saying V, not a V. We don't make it like a B, we make it like a V. Put your top teeth over your bottom lip. I have lived in Kingsville for 5 years. Okay, now this word, lived, is past tense. But when you use the have lived, okay, that's a different tense of the verb. This means you're living here now and you lived here 5 years, or that I live here now and I've lived here 5 years before this. Okay, and here's the reason I'm bringing this up is because I hear people making this mistake sometimes, because they think, if someone says, well, how long have you lived in Kingsville? And someone might say, I lived in Kingsville for 5 years. Well, this is what they call the simple past. I lived in Kingsville for 5 years. That's simple past. A simple past, and that's what we're going to look at first in verbs, means It all happened in the past. If you say, I lived in Kingsville for 5 years, you don't live in Kingsville anymore. Okay? If you say, I have lived in Kingsville for 5 years, that means you're living here now and you lived here 5 years before this. It's a very, very important difference. And that's why we're studying simple past right now, and we're going to go on to past progressive. We're going to go on to some other tenses. But I want you to understand that anything that is what we call simple past, it's all in the past, okay? None of it in the future or in the present right now. So that if something is simple past, and that's what we're going to look at now. We're going to look at, actually we're going to look at regular ones today. We're not going, there's lots and lots of irregular ones, but we're going to look at regular ones. So this is a whole different, so we're going to be looking at, if you say, I lived in Kingsville for 5 years, well, that means you don't live here now, okay? And of course, I know some of my students that join us don't live here anymore, but you were my students when you lived here. Okay, so, and I appreciate you joining us too, and still studying English with me. So simple past, it's completed in the past, okay? I wanted to mention that because that's an important difference when someone asks you a question or when we do certain things. Okay, what we're going to look at right now is, okay, the regular form of the simple past is an ED, okay? So if you have, and I've got a big list of words here. We're going to, so if you have the word start, and you want to put it in the simple past, you add the ED. One of the things that's easy about the English language for simple past is that all of the different tenses, I, you, he, she, or it, this is when we conjugate the verb, right? Okay? We, these are all singular. This is kind of a review for some of you. We, you, plural, and I'm just going to put, well, I'll put the whole word, plural. Or they, and these are singular, that means just one, and these are plural. And that's really a, how do I say, it should be a review for you. But for some of you, maybe it's not. So if it's not, that's why, you know, but the simple past is, you can say, I started, he started, she started, it started, you started. All of these use that same word. We started, you started, they started. And that's one of the things that's easy, because in the present tense that doesn't always happen. So, so that part is one. I know that English is difficult. I totally understand that. Pronunciation, spelling, usage, a lot of it's very difficult. Especially pronunciation, I think. But if you have the past tense, the simple past tense, that is one of the easiest forms. So, you just for the regular verbs in the past tense, you add the ed. Okay, we're going to talk later about probably Thursday. I think we will get to pronunciation. Okay, so I'm going to talk to you today about some of the spelling and how we do this, because I know some people have problems, and maybe you've never studied how to make these how to spell the different words. There are rules, but you don't have to learn the rules if you kind of just know that this is what you do, okay? So I'm not going to, we don't have to do, because this is simple past, so it's the same word for all of those, you know, whether it's saying I or you or they, okay, it's all would be the same. So, but one of the things that we do, okay, if you have, and I'm going to give you examples. if you have a, let's see, is this for one, yeah. If you have a vowel plus a Y, okay, plus a Y, so that the word, let me give you some examples here. Enjoy, or play, or pray. Let's see, I thought I had another one here. Stay. I guess they all have A ones, but I'm sure there's some other ones. But if you have those, all you have to do is add ed, okay? Just like the regular ones, okay? If you have to make it past. They enjoyed the movie. We played for 4 hours. He prayed every morning. She stayed in the hotel. Okay? So all of those, it's simple past if you have that. Now, if you have, let's see, 2 vowels, oh no, okay. I'm sorry, if you have this one, and I put a plus, okay, just like we had the regular one, if you have 2 consonants together, and these are, and one, let's see, I guess these were, yeah, with one, if 2 consonants at the end of the word, okay, instead of a vowel and a Y. Okay, like these are. Okay, if you have 2 consonants or 2 vowels and 1 consonant. Okay, I'll put that up here. 2 vowels and 1 consonant. And here's if you have 2 consonants in a row, like want, start was another one, okay? Let me see, here's some of the other ones I had. Paint, okay? I'll give you some over here. 2 vowels and a need was 1. Let's see, 2 vowels and I have need was the only one that we had there. But anyway, these do the same thing. All of these kind of, you just add the ed. Very easy, very easy. Needed, you don't have to put another D or anything like that, because the 2 vowels and that's, I'll put that, what that rule is. But now it makes a difference, okay? Because this is, if it's a vowel and consonant, you add the ed. Now, if there's, the reason I'm putting this is because if a verb ends in a Y, okay, and not a vowel before it, like the word study, okay. What were some of the other ones here?
Party.
Party, yes. Carry was another one. Actually, that was kind of the but it ends in a Y, so that's what, I had bury, okay, and if you see, this word is not bury, okay, it's bury is how we pronounce it. It means that you dig a hole and put something in the ground. For when we call people are buried when they die. My dog takes bones and buries them in the ground. They dig and and then they push dirt over the top. That's burying, and we pronounce it. It's not bury. It looks like it would be, and that's again the difficult part of English. But if it ends in Y without a vowel before it, then what we do is we change this Y to an I. Whoops, do that. We change the Y, the Y to an I and add ED. So we say it's studied. And sometimes people want to just add the ED there. But if it's a Y and there's a consonant before it, we change it. Okay, like the word carry, we change the Y to an I and add the ED. You see what we did there every time? Buried. Change the Y to an I and add ED. So it's different than if there's a vowel and a Y, okay? And that's why I put this up here, because it's not just every word that ends in Y, it's just certain ones, because we don't say E-N-J-O-I-E-D, no. We leave the Y there. The same thing with played, okay? But if it's a consonant, okay, and ends in Y, whether it's two consonants together or just one, you change the I to change the Y to an I and add ED. Okay, there's another one. If you have, okay, maybe I can put it up here. If it ends in, I'm going to make this a little, in an E, any of the words, and I have several here. Okay, if you have the word smile, okay, we don't add an ED then. If it ends in an E, we just add the D. Very easy, very easy. Just add D. Smile is one. Donate is another one. Donated, okay? Just add the D because it already has the E there. Another one is serve. Served is what we say. Complete. How do we make it past tense? Just add the D. Just add the D. This is a common one. Use. Use. What do we do? How do we make it past? Just add the D. Used. Used. We're going to talk on Thursday about the how we pronounce them. Let's see. I had a couple more. I thought. Yes. Yes. Completed. No, where's that one? I'm sorry. Use, smile, donate. I thought I had one more in here. No. Okay. Okay. So if it ends in an E, just add the D for the simple past. Okay. Now there's one more. One more. It's a rule according to the grammar book. Okay, it's a rule, but it's not as common. These are all, I think, pretty easy. Okay, I'm going to erase these right now because I want to show you that if you have, let's see, a one-syllable verb that ends in a vowel and a consonant. Okay, one syllable, and I'll show you verb and that ends in a vowel plus a consonant. And here's the example that they gave, and I think I have some other ones here. Stop. You see that? It has a it has one syllable, ends in a vowel and a consonant. Now we don't just put an ED, we make this a double it. Oh, okay.
Yeah,
okay.
Because it gets lost.
Okay. So we don't just go ahead and put the ED, we double it to make it PED, stopped. And there's quite a few like this way too, this one. Let's see, I was trying to think about what some of the other ones I had.
Drop.
A drop would be another one, right. Drop, and you double the last consonant, dropped. Okay. Anyway, we'll we'll practice some more later, but then, okay, if it's and this is where it gets really confusing, I think. If it's a two-syllable word, and the emphasis is on the first syllable.
Refer is another one.
Oh, refer.
Refer.
Okay, yeah. Well, this is a one syllable. Refer is two
Oh, I'm
syllables.
sorry,
Yeah.
yeah.
But it's still it has the same idea. It's a refer. Okay, refer.
Yeah.
And the reason is that we do that is because let me not put refer there because we have that. That would be just like the two-syllable words with the emphasis on the last syllable. Okay, so let me put two-syllable. And I hope you're not sleeping yet because I know this is not so interesting, but these are the rules and it helps you spell better. Two-syllable verb with the emphasis or the accent on the second syllable.
Some other.
Okay,
Um,
and I'll show you. That's refer is one of those. Occur is one. Okay. Refer, occur. There's several. Let's see what is
some other of the one-syllable ones. Beg or flip or plan.
Oh, okay. Plan is another one. Yes,
Okay.
PLAN or beg. Okay. To make it past, to make them simple past, you just double that one. Plan would be planned. Beg would be begged, okay? That you double this to make it and then add the ED afterwards. Okay. And these ones that the emphasis on the second syllable, we don't say refer, we say refer, occur. Okay, when that happens, we do the same thing. We do that same thing. We double the end, and so it becomes referred, two R's. And there's quite a few. And I put two-syllable verbs, but it can be more than two syllables even. But if the emphasis is on the end, occur would be occurred. Okay, two R's. And but now if the stress is on the first syllable, then you just add the ED. Like if it's, well, if it's on the first syllable, like the word they had two, let's see, I guess I can put it down here. Two-syllable or more even. Two-syllable verbs with emphasis on the first syllable, which, and that's one of the reasons why we have to
Turn this way.
know, that's one of the reasons why we have to know the pronunciation of things, okay? Because if you say ochre, well, then you might think the emphasis is on the first syllable, and it's not, it's on the last one. But this one, here it would be here's one right here. Listen. You have the word listen. Okay, the emphasis is on the first one. So you don't need, if that happens, you just add the ED. Listened. We had another one, let's see, reveal. Reveal. That was another one. Revealed. Oh, that one, yeah, okay. Suggest. Suggest. Most of the verbs, there it is right there, suggest, it's the last. Okay, so that sometimes you add just the ED there and sometimes you have to do the vowel. Two more things I want to mention is that if you have an O, a W or an X, okay, and I will, can you get them over here? If you have a W at the end of the word, like the word show, if you have a W, you never double that. So you'd put showed. or if you have the word follow, okay, you would not put a second W, you just put followed. Or if you had the word box as a like boxing, like fighting, okay, as a verb instead of a noun, you would say boxed. Just add, you would never make it two X's.
So W or X.
Or fix, yeah. Fix, okay, you'd never make it two X's. You'd always just add the ED. Okay, enough of this. I don't think it's terribly interesting, but there are rules, and you need to kind of have, if you know you never put two X's, for example, or if you know that, and this really makes people confused, people whose first language is English too. Do I put two R's there or just one? Okay, and the rules, they're kind of obscure, okay, they're not real common rules. The common rule is that they all have an ED. And what is nice is that you can say begged. I begged, you begged, he begged, we begged, they begged, okay? Because it's the same word for all of the different conjugations when you break it up there. Okay, that's all we're going to do for today. I think our time is up, yeah. But and we're going to do some more with verbs. It's not always interesting, but it's an important thing. And we're going to, this has to do with spelling. But the next time, we're going to do some review for spelling. And I have some sentences that I'm going to have you see if you can figure out which ones that you'd put, how you would spell the past tense verb to go into. And then we're going to go on to the pronunciation, okay, which really is important also. The reason we do pronunciation is because I want you to be able to be understood. If you go to the grocery store or if you go to the doctor's office and they can't understand what you're saying, you know you're trying to say it in English, but maybe you're not pronouncing certain things right. If you learn the correct pronunciation, someone else can understand you and you can converse so much better, okay? Thank you for joining me this morning. I hope you're not sleeping by now, but anyway, but I appreciate it, and hang in there and have a wonderful, wonderful day. I'll see you next time. Bye.